Rise and shine, everybody. Hope everybody's amazing today. Hope everyone is absolutely amazing. I'm gonna give you guys a few moments to get inside, and we're gonna build. What if your greatness is buried underneath your failure? All right, family. Beautiful, beautiful topic today. Beautiful thought today. Okay. What if your greatness is buried underneath your failure, your so-called failure? Okay, and you have to so-called fail to get just to uncover it. Okay, family. Giving you guys a few minutes, family. I thought about this, thinking about the topic of consistency. Why many of us give up, why many of us are not able to fully realize our goals and dreams. Okay, it's because we get discouraged. We get discouraged with failure. Okay, failure digs into our ego, makes us question who we are, makes us question our worth, our value, our abilities, right? But I once heard someone say there's no such thing as failure. Now, when I first heard that, obviously that was new to me, as my whole life I've heard about this thing called failure, okay? But when I heard that, I began to rethink it. Is there such thing as failure? What are we really calling failure, okay? And so we're gonna talk about what exactly is failure and how is it that your greatness is buried underneath it, okay? So if failure is a concept, can something actually truly be buried underneath it? I mean, what's the logic in that, right? What's this brother talking about? Failure is subjective, correct? It's a perspective. How can something be buried underneath the perspective? I think you're starting to get it. I think you're starting to get it, family. What is failure to you? Somebody tell me, what is failure in your words, okay? What is failure to you? If you were gonna put a definition to failure to define it in your best words, not Webster's, what is failure? We know failure doesn't feel good, right? We expect to be better than we were. And when we weren't as good as we expected, we call that failure. But what is that failure based on? Expectation? Did you truly make yourself accountable to being who you expected yourself to be? Or did you just, with ego, expect to be this certain person? MGI says it's the process of growth. See, that eliminates it as being failure then, right? That means the process of growth is the process of growth. The process of growth isn't failure, and failure isn't the process of growth. The process of growth is simply what it is, right? We grow. That's not failure. It's a process. And he's right. Do y'all understand that? It is a process. Fall forward. For show says. Yeah, let's get the likes up, family. Y'all like and heart to live, family. Let everybody know that we have an amazing build today, okay? I'm about to get into it. I just wanted to give you guys some time to come on. You know, if we stay out of our own heads and stop with the counting up what we think is our failures, we'd be more consistent. You understand that, right? And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to be able to see us be able to be consistent, not supernatural, okay? Not necessarily special, but just consistent. Failure, not reaching your goals or reaching them and things still fall apart. Okay, Danielle, thank you. Thank you. Camden, South Carolina, I see you. What's up with you? Hey, everybody, if you're in Charlotte area, hit me up. I'm going to be doing an event, an outdoors event, okay? So we can bring our family, bring our children. We're going to have a kingship outing, okay, where we cook out vegan food, regular food, all the nine, okay? We're going to be playing some games, having some fun, getting to know each other, building our alliances, okay? Forming our tribe. So getting more familiar with each other. All of you guys who are looking forward to meeting people who think like you, who are focused on their children and inner kingdom building, make sure you hit me up. Stay tuned because we're going to be doing some events right here in Charlotte. Okay, family? Great outside events. So I hope you guys are getting ready for it. But anyway, let's talk about it, okay? We're going to start talking about consistency and this failure thing, okay? So for me, I look at failure as how it feels in the moment. at the moment. The moment that something doesn't go your way, the moment that things seem to collapse, the moment that things don't seem to unfold the way you expected them to. I think that's what we're calling failure. Or the moment that you try and you don't get the result that you expect. That must be failure. Okay? But when we don't feel like we try, what's up, truth knows no bounds? See you, King. Whenever we don't try, we don't really call that failure, do we? We be like, I wasn't even trying. Right? So we call failure the thing when we're trying. So whenever you're actually trying to bring your greatness out of yourself, notice that that's the thing that you're consistently doing is trying. And that's when you measure yourself. So if you're trying to sing, if you're trying to draw, if you're trying to run 1 mile, whenever you are not able to achieve what you thought you would be able to or what you expected you'd be able to, this is when the depression starts to set in. The discouragement starts to set in. The self-doubt starts to set in, okay? And this is when all of that starts to weigh on your mental. And sometimes that pressure is so great, we quit. In fact, most of the time that pressure is so great, we quit, okay? Because we don't understand what being accountable to greatness truly looks like, okay? Consistency. And that's all that can be asked of you. So I want to tell you guys, don't live in the wind, so to speak. Live in your consistency, okay? Be validated because you got up and tried again. Try again. At first you don't succeed, right? You got to keep doing it. How do you become a boxer, family? Do you throw one punch and you're a boxer? I used to box, family, so I know what it takes to become a boxer, okay? How many of you know it's not just one punch? You cannot one punch your way into being a boxer. Do you understand? It's several punches, thousands, millions of punches later, you are now a boxer, right? And how many of you know you can throw that same jab 1,000 times, but after that 1,000th jab, it's not the same jab? Somebody say that, family. You can throw 1,000 jabs, but after that 1,000th jab, it's not the same jab. You can literally throw 1,000 of the same jabs and it won't be the same jab. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Because you are uncovering your greatness through your failure, through getting rid of your failure. What if your greatness is buried underneath your failure and you got to go through the failure just to get to it? Now, I want us to keep that thought this whole time, okay? Imagine that on the way to manifesting your greatest self, that greatest person, your greatest day, your greatest punch thrown, your greatest song sang, right? Your greatest talent, the sharpest you will ever be, is buried underneath all of the failure, the so-called failure. Anybody ever watch anime? Thank you so much, Stack Boy AWOL, for the stars. Thank you guys for the super chats. Anybody ever watch anime? Sometimes your greatest heroes, they fail, don't they? They lose, right? Goku got beat up by Raditz, had to give his life with Piccolo, to jump Raditz and died, right? But that's not the strongest Goku would ever be, right? That's only the beginning. But it appears to be a failure. He wasn't strong enough to beat Raditz or resist Raditz on his own. But you got to be accountable to being great. Being great don't just happen. Otherwise, that's not greatness. That's called a gift. Even your gift has to be sharpened until the point where it's greatness. You may have a gift, things you can do a little better than other people. Some people may try something for 10 years and you're able to do it early in life. You ever see a child singer? Like they can just do it. They just got a gift. The ancestors just say, you know what? We're going to hook you up. We're going to speed up time for you. You're going to have things seemingly mastered that other people will have to work years and years and years to be able to accomplish. But yet they still have to work. They still have to sharpen their skills to become even better, right? But that's what we call a gift, someone who just has an amazing talent, right? But how do you get to your greatness? I like to say thank you so much for liking the crown. I like to say it's consistency. It's not necessarily doing something absolutely special, family. It's repeating the same step. If you keep putting one step in front of the other, you will complete your journey. Some destinations look too long to walk. Some destinations look too far to travel, but you don't know how far you can travel. See, you're looking at it and you're estimating it, saying, oh, there's no way I could walk that far. But have you ever just put one foot in front of the other? And all you do is just keep doing that and don't live in the if I can or can't. That's none of your business. Do you understand, family? You're not going to be able to pull the greatness out of you if you're getting ahead of your greatness, assuming you don't have it, assuming that you don't know it. Hey, sweetheart, how you doing, sis? Love you. You got to be willing to trust yourself. Trust the things you haven't yet solved. Understand it. I said your greatness is buried. That means you can't see it. You can't see it till you let it out of you. Nobody else can see it. They're only looking at your exterior. They do not know you. And the tricky part is neither do you. You are trying to unravel to get what's in you out of you too. You know there's greatness in you. And many of us haven't even begun to scratch the surface. Why? Fear of failure. So we don't try. You got to get that failure out of you. Get it out of you. Imagine throwing that punch over and over. Boom. Same punch over and over, family. But as you throw that punch, you start to realize it's not the same punch, right? Because you've been consistently throwing it. So maybe you got to get rid of all the weak punches. You got to get rid of all the inaccurate punches that's in you. There's a lot of that stuff at the top of, you know how the beer, what they call it, the hops, right? When you pour your beer at the hops, but you don't want the hops, so people rake that off, right? That's what failure is, okay? It's the rust. It's the versions of you, the trials that has not been sharpened that you got to get rid of first. Like you got to get all of your bad notes out of you, okay, before you sing your good notes. You got to get them out. They're at the bottom. I want you to think about this, family. Your greatness is at the bottom. It's at the pit. So you have to dig through it. Throw it. I'm talking about get the negative stuff all the way out of the room. Get it all the way out of you. So you ain't got to rummage through it anymore. You ever look through a big old pile or something? Like say you're looking through a bunch of marbles and you're looking for red marbles, but it's filled with white marbles. So and you keep moving them around. You don't see any red marbles. Every now and then you might see one, but the white ones roll right back in front of it before you can grab it. Well, what do you got to do? Throw those white marbles over your shoulder. Just get rid of them. You don't need them. You're only looking for red ones. You're only looking for greatness. You're not looking for failure. Take no time on failure. Don't worry about it. You understand, family? Because what happens is failure goes straight to our head and becomes weights and barriers that hold us back. We don't want to try, okay? We begin to fear success even more than failure. So a lot of times we want to live in that failure, what we call in failure. But it's not failure. It's a moment of reflection. It's a moment of reconfiguring. It's a moment to go back to the drawing board. They talked about Einstein, how he failed 100 and something times before he created the light bulb. He said, I didn't fail 100 and something times. There was 100 and something steps. You understand? Thank you so much, MGI. There was 100 and something steps. So MGI was correct, family. It's the process of growth. You're calling that failure. Somebody taught us to call that failure. Does that make sense, family? It was never failure. It was only the process of growth. When you go outside and you look at a rose bush, right? Right? That's dope, MGI. I'd like to know what that is too. When you look at a rose bush, family, you can see the roses. Sometimes they're beautiful, they're vibrant, right? But then sometimes they are broken, they're falling off, they are dying, they're rotting off, right? The same healthy rose tree. And you'll say to yourself, it's losing, they dying. Man, 2 or 3 days later, what's gonna happen, family? Brand new rosebuds, brand new blooms. Why? Because it's a part of the process. That was never failure. Those rose bushes that were, those roses that were seeming to break down and fall down to the ground, they're going to be fertilizer for the tree. It's a part of the process. That failure, what you're looking at is failure, not beauty. It's not beautiful. Okay, it's not a pretty sight. Is what we say when you're in the process of refining. When you're in the gym working out, that ain't a pretty sight. You sweating, you tired. It's not a pretty sight, right? Unless you're freaky. No, I'm just playing. It's not a pretty sight. So when you see like the rose petals falling back to the ground, you don't, at the time, you have to remind yourself, these rose petals are going to disintegrate, go back into the dirt, turn into fertilizer, and literally push this tree out of the ground further, make it grow even more. So if you once it breaks down, once it's absorbed, right? And that's what failure is. Once you assess the failure, what you're calling failure, once you absorb it, once you digest it, once you get a good perspective of what went wrong, or what didn't go according to plan, okay, because that's what you're calling failure. What didn't go as I expected, what didn't go as I hypothesized, what did I learn new from this, what I'm calling failure? Once you truly absorb it, once you truly digest it, it becomes fertilizer for your dreams and goals. Have you noticed that? When you observe the failure, okay, allow it to be a process for your growth instead of a dagger, okay, a dagger in your journey. Because we like to hide our failures, act like we never failed. Yo, none of us are perfect. We are trying to figure this out. How many of y'all got it all together? How many of y'all know exactly what's in y'all? Gifts, talents, everything. You know every word that you're going to ever speak. You know how you're going to respond when everybody tests you from this day going forward. You know who you are, ins and outs. There's nothing else that you will ever do that will surprise you. How many of y'all know that? How many of you know yourself in that way? I would guarantee you that none of you know yourself in that way. Thank you so much, Sherry. None of us knows ourselves in that way. We are getting to know ourselves. So we sit here and we think we know us. We keep saying, I know myself, but who you calling myself? You literally referring to your ego. You haven't even began to truly see you because you are not who you see in the mirror. You are not what you've been through. There's more ahead of it. You that too. You are every great gift that comes out of you. You haven't even seen it yet. You haven't even seen the best of it yet because you haven't put yourself through being accountable to it yet. See, you have to keep being consistent, family, even when you don't feel like it, and get it out of your system. How many of us can really truly say we tried with all of our might every single day to accomplish this thing? Or can we be honest and say, there's sometimes I put the ball down. There's sometimes I didn't, continue. There's sometimes I got discouraged and self-sabotaged. You see what I'm saying? There's sometimes that I got ahead of it and deemed me not worthy before I even began. Yo, I got some dreams that I haven't realized yet. And what's the real reason I haven't realized them? Lack of consistency. Lack of consistency. If you woke up every single day and wrote a little bit more in that book, you'd have that book written. If you woke up every single day and took another step, you'd be there by now. Do you understand? But it's those days off that we take. A lot of times we're discouraged. And family, I'm not even saying to call those failure. What I'm saying is even look at that as a process for your growth. Today, we're going to recognize that there is no such thing as failure. Do you understand? Yes, and I am a king through and through. Mind, body, soul. You guys are going to learn today that even those times when you dropped the ball was part of the process, and you need not carry around that burden on you. MGI says it's a distance, long or short. One must make a choice. Let me see, I'm about to lose it. It went away. One must make a choice to make the right choices of a period of time, understanding that it is distance to your destination. I get it, indeed. And that distance is not in miles, kilometers, the social scales that we agree upon, okay? That distance between you and your greatest self is ignorance. That distance between you and your greatest self is lack of effort, lack of consistency. You understand? Closing that gap is not about walking another measured mile. And that's why you got to get out of your head and stop thinking that you can estimate how much farther you have to go. You maybe still haven't scratched the surface of your truest abilities yet, of your truest power yet. You may have still never scratched the surface of it. Because it's not all about your ability to do one thing. It's about who you become. See, when you fail, when you so-called fail, it sharpens your character. You understand? It sharpens your integrity if you don't quit. You understand? Not just the skill. So your skill is going to be sharpened, but yet you are gaining knowledge. You understand? You now know what it feels like for things not to go your way. So now you handle it better. You understand? You've built up a tolerance for it. Okay, you've learned to be consistent in the moment and stay on the same page and not live in drama. You understand? You're not easily swayed because you don't live in drama. You know the noise in your head is irrelevant as long as you keep doing. But even in all of that doing, some of us still have not scratched the surface. There's so much more. So know that at the end of you manifesting your greatness, you won't even be who you are right now. And that's why I keep saying you are not who you see in the mirror. That person will go. You won't be that person anymore. You won't respond the same anymore. You won't think the same anymore. You understand? And I think nature shows this. Your cells inside of your body are constantly dying and repeating and regenerating. Every so many years, you have now completely became new again because the old you has completely died away. And there is a completely new version of you in your cells and all that. Why become a whole new person biologically, but still think the same as the old person because you refuse to deal with your trauma? See, your biological vessel is telling you, yo, we transform. That's what we do. The purpose of life is to transform, okay? It is to manifest your greatness through that. You won't be the same person if you are truly being sharpened, right? Because the things that are not like your greatest self have to go away. They have to be removed. Family, and that looks like consistency. Have you ever seen a blacksmith make a sword? Doesn't it look like consistency? You put the sword into the fire. You wait until it heats up. You pull it out. And you take that hammer and you pound that sword until you get it to mold. Okay? Until you can get the metal to start moving. And then you put it back in again. And you take it out. And you repeat that process. Every sword seems to be made exactly the same. Right? Now the finished product of that sword, you may think it may went through something extravagant or something special. But the truth is, it's consistency. It's doing it the same way every time, and that's what makes you sharp. Do you understand? This is why we say iron sharpens iron. You understand? It's doing those little nuanced things, family. Don't give up on it. Keep repeating those steps. Be very, very consistent. You don't have to be special. I think we're thinking that some people say, I don't have a talent. I don't have anything I'm good at. I just don't have that. Well, you don't have to be great at anything in terms of an ability that makes people ooh and ah when you perform it. You understand? You have to be consistent though. Consistent. Okay, I just did a video where this lady, she does a little mark on a paper, the same little mark over and over. And by the time she gets done with it, there's this huge picture and it's beautiful, it's art. And you'd never know that it's just the same line over and over. And you would say she's an artist. She can draw, and she likely can. That's the only portrait I've ever seen her complete. But truthfully, whether she can draw or not, that particular picture is only made by consistency. The same one line over and over. She just did the same line over and over. Not even every line is exact. If you look at the individual lines, you can tell that her hand doesn't make the perfect line every time. But when you see it all together, you can't find the flaw. And that's what it's like when you're drawing. Every stroke ain't your best stroke. Every line you're not happy with. But as you notice, it begins to come together. You know what I'm saying? Any artists on here, anybody ever sketched a picture, drawn a picture, and you can see it when you make that. Everybody else is looking and waiting for the finished product of the drawing, but the artist, they see every single stroke. Every time the pencil hits the paper, they see it. So they know a drawing is made up of thousands of times that the pencil hit the paper. Not one, right? One stroke, one stroke, one stroke. And then you just begin to what they call a draw, right? One step after another. We call it drawing because it's sketch, 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 sketch. And we call that art drawing, right? And then you come up with a picture. But that picture wasn't made off just one line. It was made off of several, okay? And that's what building your dream is going to be like. That's what manifesting your greatest self is like. It's inside of you, family. It's nothing outside of you. You have to sharpen yourself, and you will notice that as you sharpen in yourself, you are uncovering your greatness. That gap between you and your best self is just like an effort, like a consistency and ignorance. That's literally all. Did you know that your next best self is right behind knowledge? You taking the time to learn more about your craft and the thing you're supposed to be doing. It's not behind meeting somebody with resources to help you or someone giving you an investment of some sort. These things can be a launching pad to get you where you need to be, but they don't change you. They don't help to form you, to transform you. Pressure helps to transform you. Do you understand? The struggle helps to transform you. So we want the struggle to go, But you don't understand, the struggle is what's pulling the best out of you. You understand? It's like a tadpole saying, I don't want to swim through all this water. I'd rather just walk. Well, if you keep swimming through this water, one day you will walk. Okay? You pushing your body through this pressure is what's building those muscles and make those legs sprout out of you, and you will lose your tail. But you are not, this is not who you're going to be. You're not a tadpole. You see a frog at one place in its life, you call it a tadpole. And then another place in its life, you call it a frog. Well, what is it? Right? What is it? Are you fixed on one moment in life and saying it's that thing? Because if it's not that thing tomorrow, then it was never that thing. Because it's constantly a process, right? So you call them the frog different names throughout its process. So that's what we're doing with our life. In one day, based on how we feel, based on how we look, that's failure. Now, on another day, that same person, okay, based on how they feel, based on how it looks, they are successful. But wait a second, time out. That's the same person. You understand? So we're just talking about a process, right? Same thing from a caterpillar. It's a butterfly, okay? It's a butterfly, or I mean, it's a worm, a caterpillar at first. And at one stage, we literally say, that's a caterpillar. We don't say that's a butterfly. We don't call it a butterfly until it comes out of its chrysalis state, till it goes into that solitude, till it builds those walls around itself, and it goes into that place and completely melts down and rebuilds itself into what we call now a monarch or a butterfly or a moth, right? And now its lifestyle is completely different than that of a caterpillar. It now is feeding the flowers or pollinating the flowers. That wasn't the caterpillar's job. The caterpillar's job was just to consume, just to take in information. You know, food is information, right? You do realize that, right? That food is information. And that's what the caterpillar is. It's only job to do. Eat these leaves, man. Eat them. Get strong. And when you know it's time, your time might not be the same as everybody else's. See, all these caterpillars, they come out of the same web, out of the same egg, right? But they all build their cocoon at different times, because it's no competition. It's when you know you're ready, okay? The beautiful thing about the caterpillar to me is when it's time, they just begin to notice internally. There's no library for them to go read and learn about when is their time, when is it time to become a butterfly. You understand? You have to feel it internally. You don't go around waiting on other people's opinions. Because if you do that, those other caterpillars going to say, you about to become a butterfly, man. You're going to run off and leave us, man. We wish you would stay and hang out with us. We wish you wouldn't. You changing up. You changing up. You supposed to be with us doing what we do. You switching up. Oh, I thought you was a real one. Right? And you're going to be like, let me just go ahead and hang around my caterpillar friends. Maybe I'll just wait on creating my cocoon. I'll just hang out with them. I don't want to be lonely. So, let me go ahead and just hang out with them, But the caterpillar don't do that. The caterpillar knows that when I go into my cocoon, I'm going to be by myself anyway. So even if we decide to all go inside and cocoon, we ain't going to get to talk to each other for weeks anyway. You understand? So let me just not worry about that, what people's opinions are. I feel it's time for me to transform. I can feel something calling me from within, okay? So what does the caterpillar start doing? Building its cocoon. Somebody tell me, how does the caterpillar begin building its cocoon? Where does it come from? Where does the cocoon come from? Does the caterpillar go and look for a cocoon and then snuggle up inside of it and get cozy? How is the cocoon formed? Where does the caterpillar go to get the cocoon, family? Now, we study in nature. This is why I tell you, nature truly shows you what it is. From itself, Beasley said. Okay, now Beasley said it gets it from itself. I want somebody to elaborate. How does the cocoon come from the caterpillar? How does the cocoon that the caterpillar will be inside of growing, how does that come from the caterpillar? Because this cocoon is going to be larger than the caterpillar. Where is he getting it from? Joe, hit me up in my inbox, King. I got you. I get them from different places. Most of them I have made. It must go in solitude, okay? Within. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I like that. The cocoon comes from within, right? It comes out of the caterpillar in the form of saliva, okay? The caterpillar begins to take that saliva, okay? Just like a spider. Yeah, it comes out of the web is the spider. It comes out of the spider, right? So the cocoon The thing that's going to transform you, family, comes out of you. It's not from somewhere else. That caterpillar don't need a damn thing. It all is going to come in due time. Due time. When you begin to create your place of solitude, okay, with your affirmations and the words you speak, see, it comes out of the caterpillar's mouth, okay? Its own cells, something from the belly of this caterpillar has a cocoon in it, some type of liquid that when it hardens, it will create a shell. And some way or another, the caterpillar knows when to channel this particular fluid and bring that out of them, even though they never did it. Now, the caterpillar makes one cocoon, family. One. It hasn't been in the business of making cocoons. How would it know that this is how I pull the cocoon out of me? How would I know that? Your biology knows. How would you know to start creating sperm, men? How would you know to begin ovulating, women? How would you know that it's time for you to have your period? You don't know. Your biology tells you when you're ready. Now imagine all your girlfriends saying, oh, you got your period already. Oh, that makes me feel insecure. I don't feel like a woman. Now I feel like the youngest. All my friends have gotten their period and I'm still sitting here and I haven't gotten mine. Y'all not about to wait on her, right? You don't have a choice. Your body's just going to start transforming. Now you've always had the ability, okay, the wherewithal in you to have children, but it's starting to manifest now, right? You men, you were made a baby maker, but you weren't a baby maker before the moment that your baby making abilities were awakened, right? But it's a process, right? Now you begin to think differently. Those hormones begin to make you think and act differently in reality. You start wanting things you never wanted, interactions with people you never been interested in, right? And it's because you're changing from within, because there's something else greater involved, right? The propensity or the need to create and change and grow begins to take over you, right? You start to feel turned on, right? The sheer fact that your cells in your body changed, it caused you to change and react to that. Now you're starting to be turned on. Now you want to do different acts that you never thought about doing. If you were guys, you had an all boys club, you couldn't stand women. Now all you think about is women, right? Your body's changing. Why? Because there's something on the inside driving you. You understand? Same thing with the caterpillar, family. Okay, it builds that cocoon around itself, goes into solitude. When it feels its time, it doesn't need to know what a cocoon is. It does not have books. It does not have words. Okay, it does not need to even hear the word cocoon. They never have to hear this word. It literally comes out of them from within, family. Okay? So they start building this cocoon around themselves with this liquid that comes out of a certain place, a certain sac inside their body, okay? And they build it up and keep going until they are in complete darkness, okay? Once they're in complete darkness, family, this cocoon, this chrysalis begins to solidify, okay? Creating a shell around it, okay? So they know they're there. You there for the time being. You understand this right now. You could be eaten by animals too, right there where you build it. As soon as you start beginning to go into your solid place, your solitude, know that right then, it can all be wiped away. You got to trust it. You got to trust that silent process. The world going to keep moving, and for a moment, you're going to seem to be stagnant, but you're not. You're changing from the inside out. So some of us always want to keep moving. When you develop your plan and you design your business model, sometimes you have to be okay with going in solitude and working with the inner structure of your business plan, working with how your business is going to move. Peace to you, Eugene. Does that make sense to you? And other people may be appearing to move forward, and you're like, oh crap, let me just stop training and try to keep up with them. Let me come out of my class. Let me come out of the place that was growing me and try to keep up with the Joneses. Don't you leave your cocoon and try to come out, because you're going to be halfway. You're going to be half evolved. Because that caterpillar has to completely melt down, have a meltdown. It has to lose everything that was making it who it was in the beginning. Did you know inside of the cocoon, family, the caterpillar's DNA literally breaks all the way down into a sludge, into a liquid, just like the fluid that it created the cocoon with. When I was a child, I used to, really explore nature, climb trees and stuff, and I would see these big bags or sacks full of like just little caterpillars, right? I tear them open, watch how the caterpillars fall out. Some of you guys were a kid too. But then sometimes I would see cocoons. And I'm thinking, when I tear this cocoon open, there's going to be a caterpillar inside. Never found a caterpillar inside of a cocoon. Never found one. What I always found was just green or black looking liquid. That's all I ever found. Just liquid, family. There's no caterpillar inside. Right? Kind of like an egg. See? When you crack an egg, there's no chicken inside. But if you give it some time, there's a chicken inside. When you crack a seed, there is no tree inside. But give it some time in solitude and watch what manifests. I want you guys to think about what I'm saying now, family. Do you understand? If you crack a seed, you will not find a tree inside of it. Am I lying to you? But give it some time in solitude and watch what sprouts from it. Okay? Now you're going to say it's a little plant. And then as it grows some more, oh, now it's a tree. Now it's bearing fruit. But that seed has a tree inside of it, even though you can't see it. And that tree inside of it has thousands and millions of seeds, even though you can't see it. So what you're holding in your hand is a forest. That seed is a forest. Do you understand? You're just looking at it right now at this place in time, in this dimension, and you're saying it's a seed. But through the eyes of God, through the eyes of seeing everything at the same time, that seed is a forest. Okay? Inside of the seed is a tree with more seeds. Inside of those seeds are trees with more seeds. Inside of those seeds are trees with more seeds. And I could keep going on. What you think is in you, family? Inside of you is more yous. And inside of that is more yous. It's a whole generation, whole lineage, a whole world of people. Do you understand? And that's not just your sperm. I mean, your character. You consistently change and transform your whole entire life, your whole entire being. You are changing. So are you willing to let go of who you thought you were? Okay, that caterpillar has to let go of being a caterpillar. It has to let go of doing caterpillar things. Okay, it has to completely dissolve into nothingness. That's something that has no shape, no form, something that you can't decide. What do we call a caterpillar when it's in a cocoon? Is it a chrysalis? I forget. What do we call it? I'm telling you guys, if you've ever seen it, it's just liquid. It's just fluidity. It's just fluid. It's everywhere. You don't know where the eyes are. You don't know where the nose is. You don't know where the wings are. It's literally just fluid. How in the hell, okay, does this caterpillar build itself back with no brain if its brain is also fluid? What if I told you that every single cell in that caterpillar had its brain, had its directions, knew what it was supposed to do, just like every single cell inside of you? You're not just thinking with this. Every single cell inside of you has your ancestry in it, has your DNA, the information to unlock every powerful thing in you, family. Trust it. Put it through the fire. Put it through the pressure and watch you manifest a greater version of yourself. How in the world, family? Think about it. See, we don't understand what magic truly is because we have been, again, our world of wonder has been usurped by fantasy, superstition, and religion. So we think magic comes from a person wearing a hat with stars on it, a pointy hat that says voila. Magic is happening right in front of y'all. That caterpillar literally takes its own saliva, builds its own cocoon around itself that's made up of what's inside of it. It becomes liquid, just like what's in its mouth, what it built the cocoon out of. The thing that was once liquid is now holding all that liquid in, and it's going through changes, cell by cell, rebuilding itself back into a completely different being. And the caterpillar has not a damn clue what the different being will look like, and it doesn't care, because by any means necessary, we must manifest a greater version of self. Some of us are looking too deep into the future saying, well, I don't want our world to look like that. Does it matter? Transform. Be the change you want to see and let it be what it be. Let go of all those expectations. It don't matter what you'll look like. As long as you're fully fulfilled. As long as you have fully flourished and manifested. It doesn't matter what it looked like. As long as you are you guys miles ahead of your manifestation saying you care what it looks like? And therefore, that's why you can't manifest? Or have you let go of that saying, I don't care what my talents are. I just want to know my talents. Or are you still saying, well, I just want to be a singer. I don't want to be a drawer. I don't want to be an artist. I don't accept who I am. You know, because in this world, praise don't come to artists. It comes to that. And I want attention. So I want to be able to wow people. So I don't like my gifts. I like their gifts. Well, if that's what you're doing, family, do you not understand that your gifts will never manifest into their fullest? Because you got to love them. You got to love yourself. It's you. How dare you want to trade with somebody else? That is the most disrespectful thing to God that you could ever be. Well, I thank God for creating me. But you don't even like you. You wish you could trade avatars with someone else. See what I'm saying? You have to love you. You have to love you. More than anyone else, more than anything else. You have to love you so you can see yourself fulfilled. Pupa, thank you so much, Nikki. So in that process, family, of rebuilding yourself, you got to take your mind out of it. You got to take your expectations out of it and let it be what it be. Just be great. Okay, look, you will look in the mirror when it's time. You'll get to see whenever you come out of the cocoon. You understand? But right now, you don't know what color your wings are going to be. And that's okay. Do you understand? Just put yourself back together again, Humpty Dumpty, right? We have melted. It's time for us to really put ourselves back together again. And to do that, we remain in solitude, which means we don't need any opinions of anybody from anybody else when we're manifesting ourselves. So if you're looking at this caterpillar, it's protected by this outer shell that keeps other caterpillars out of its damn business, right? Other caterpillars are not surrounding that shell saying, that cocoon saying, you need to change here. You need to do this here. You need to modify this here. Well, if I were you, I would do it this way. Yo, I can't even see what's going on in your cocoon. So why would I try to control what's going on in your cocoon? I actually should be worried about what's going on in my cocoon. Okay? What am I melting away from? What am I rebuilding back? What am I forming stronger in myself? Because I don't need the opinions of other people, nor should I be giving them my opinions. Okay? I should just be growing. I should just be manifesting. Okay? What that looks like, who cares? Okay? This is why I say to you guys, do not be ashamed to step away from the crowd sometimes. Inside of that crowd is where the competition is. It's where you get discouraged by seeing people who you think is further along than you. It's okay sometimes to come away from all of that. Go into your place of solitude and deal with self. Restructure how you think, because it's how you think, family, that's creating your world. Do you understand? Your greatness is buried under all that. Your greatness is buried underneath all that, what you call failure, underneath all your bad days, underneath all those times when it didn't sound like you wanted it to sound, look like it wanted it to look, because what you did was you changed, you made some adjustments, okay? You modified and you became sharper. How many of you can understand that pain is a great teacher? Discouragement is a great teacher, okay? It's a great teacher. It challenges you to be better. Who was it? Rick Ross. Rick Ross said that he recorded the song with Kanye West, right? And he said that he had wrote his verse. He was done with all three of his verses, and he had let Kanye get the verses. And he said he's sitting out there just chilling, just, regular rose. I done did my verses, right? I'm good. Thank you so much, Winston Jackson. Thank you so much, Dylan. But he says that here comes Kanye saying, hey, man, so I heard the verse. It was okay. I think you could do it much better than that, right? And Rick Ross said he felt like, kind of touched a little bit. Like, what you mean I can do it better than that? And he said he went right back in there and redid it, and it was better. And he said he loved recording with Kanye because he pushed him. He said one thing about him, he is going to push you. He's going to tell you when something can be better, when something can be even sharper. And Rick Ross was completed with his verses. He only did it better because he was told to. Someone said, man, you can do this better. You got this. You understand? And he challenged himself to do it better. So you got to be thankful for people like that in your life who pulls the greatness out of you. But what ultimately brought the greatness out of him? Pressure. Pressure brings the greatness out of you, family. Okay? You do understand that, right? Now, we got these idioms where we talk about pressure creating a diamond, where you take this coal, carbon, and if you put enough pressure, that carbon will literally change into a totally different mineral based on that pressure. Now that black carbon will turn into this shiny diamond, right? Unable to be cut, right? Dense diamond, because of the pressure of compacting all that carbon in, change the molecular structure of the object, right? So now it went from coal to a diamond. Well, in that same way, family, the pressure of life actually brings the greatness out of you. So a lot of times that you're not being great is because you're not in pressure. No pressure. And you got to stop that. The no pressure type of mentality. You keep saying, don't get me wrong, there is no pressure in terms of from people. You understand? Don't let them pressure you. But there should be some internal pressure to bring the greatness out of you. People who really have a zeal for accomplishing great things, they feel like they're running out of time. They feel like time is of the essence. There's a sense of urgency there. You are not promised tomorrow, but no pressure. Does that make sense? No pressure, but you're not promised tomorrow, right? You do realize that if you keep on sitting on this gift, that you may in fact never let it out of you. You may die with that gift. You understand it? You may die with that baby yet still in your belly before you birth it. Okay? Because you got to push, right? Ain't that what they say? To be able to have a baby, you have to apply pressure. That means you got to push, right? You have to push. Well, likewise, you have to push. There should be a whim, something that's intangible behind the thing that's tangible. There should be a desire, something that you can't see. You can't see desire, but it should be something there that's got a hold of you, pulling your greatness out of you. And that's what I'm calling pressure. When you look around you, something tells you this ain't right. And inside of you, know there's something you're supposed to be doing. Well, do it. And this is why I say it happens in due time. It simply happens in due time. It's when you do it that it begins to happen for you. Okay, stop lying to the universe. Stop saying you want to be great, but not being accountable to greatness, not putting yourself in the fire, not refining yourself, not sharpening yourself, not trying over and over again, not being consistent. Because if you're not doing those things, you are not saying to the universe that you want your greatness. You understand? You are the Tower of Babel. Do you understand? Biblically, Tower of Babel was a place that humans joined together to build to be able to reach who they thought was God, right? Their love and adoration for this God caused them to join together, right? Unify and put their skill sets together to build a great tower that reaches heaven. In this allegorical story, okay, the God in this allegorical story was highly offended by humans joining together, unifying, not arguing, but unifying and building their tower into heaven. This God, this allegorical God says to himself, what are these humans doing? If these humans join together, then there is nothing that they cannot do. So I must confuse their tongue. I'm going to create other languages so they can no longer communicate. I'm going to create other perspectives so they can no longer understand each other, see eye to eye, unify. Because if they join together, there is no thing that they cannot do, right? In this allegorical story. In this allegorical story, this allegorical God destroys this tower, separates all of humanity, changes their tongue, correct? We are walking towers of Babel, okay? We're just babbling. When you say to the universe you want to be great, it does not understand you. It only understands your actions. If you say to the universe, I want a harvest, it does not hear you. It does not understand your English jargon, okay? It only understands universal talk. So if you want a harvest, you don't say to the universe, I want a harvest. See, if someone spoke Spanish, they would say they would say that in totally different words and still expect the universe to hear it. But the universe is not multi-language. It speaks one language, doing, action. It's about that action, only about that action. So your talk ain't gonna get you there. Only your action will. And some of us are really good talkers. So if you say to the universe, I want a garden, do you get the garden? No, you don't. You only get the garden when you do what, family? When do you get the garden? When do you get the harvest? Is it after you say, universe, I want to harvest, I want a garden, or is it after you do something? What is the thing that you must do, family, to get your harvest? Queen says you have to plant seeds. You have to plant the seed. If you do not plant the seeds, Shonda says you got to plant the seeds. If you don't plant the seeds, family, you will never get it. So what must you do? Action. You got to be about that action. It's in due time, not D-U-E, but D-O. When is it time? When you stop playing and do it. When you do it, that's when it's time. Take action, family. That's how badly you gotta want it, that you do it. You literally do it. Stop talking about doing it. The universe do not hear you. Have you ever seen ears on the universe? Have you ever seen that, family? It only understands action. Do you understand? Please understand me, family. You are talking to a complete foreigner when you're dealing with the universe. You can't go to it with your sentences and talk to it and get an understanding from the universe. You can't even go to God that way. Do you understand? It's about that action. Stop lying to the universe. Stop saying you want to be something but not trying to be that, because you don't want to be it if you're not trying to be that. Thus saith the universe. This ain't me talking. This is not me talking. This is your ancestors talking, okay? This is the universe talking, okay? This is nature talking to you, okay? You can't say you want to be something and then not put in forth the effort to be that and expect to be that. That's crazy. Imagine a bird sitting in its nest saying, I want to fly. Who cares if you want to fly? Prove your desire. Your wants are to trigger you to do something, not to get somebody to do something for you. Your desires don't make the universe perform. They should make you perform. That's why you have the desire. So you're a bird in a nest saying, man, I really wish I could fly. I really would like to fly. If I could fly, I would go over there. If I could fly, I would be over there. Well, fly. See, being accountable to flying isn't as easy said as done, because you have these wings, but if you haven't flew yet, therein lies the self-doubt. There's distance between you and the ground, and there's an opportunity that you can be hurt. That's going to build what we call fear, false expectation appearing real. That fear is going to keep you in your nest, in your comfort zone, in the place your mama made for you. And you got to break out of the place your mama made for you. You got to break out of all the excuses your mama made for you. You got to break out of every bit of that and be ready to fly. Fly, take off when there seems to be nothing holding you up but you and your beautiful wings. This is when you're truly ready to fly, when you're ready to let go of what everybody ever taught you about life, and you're ready to create your own life. Do you understand? And how do you fly? Consistency. The bird don't just jump out the cage, off the nest and just be like this. No, you gotta keep doing this for the foreseeable future. It's just how it works. You understand? Because that builds up momentum, and each time you flap, the wind that's underneath your wings, because the birds have lighter bones, and these feathers that seem to grab onto these, that seem to bounce off of the wind or respond to the wind, they propel themselves, flap by flap, and that's what gives this idea of flying. Now, can they soar once they reach a certain place? Yes, they're high in the ground, high in the air, and they can high in the air, and they can reach, a certain, soar. But this is not how you fly. This is only momentarily you can soar. So we do have moments where we rest, okay, where we hit a stride, okay? But mainly it's about the energy you put out flying, okay, till you get to a place to where you can soar. Sometimes you get so good at what you're doing, you feel like you're soaring. You feel like you ain't even trying that hard no more. You just, you good now. You know what I mean? You ever work a job, a physical labor job, where the first couple of weeks you work it, your feet hurt every day because you're up walking around. If you work in some type of restaurant and the floor is slippery, your feet hurt 10 times worse because you're trying to maintain your grip on the floor and your legs begin to hurt. If it's a job where you're working with your hands and you're pulling a lot of fabric, or working with something, you might have sore hands or wrists, depending on what tools you use at work. You ever have this happen, and your first day coming home from work, next day or two, the first week at work, you sore as hell from laboring at this job, and you're like, dang, well, I don't know if I can do this. But you notice bit by bit, you're not as sore, and the more you get used to doing the job, you don't even feel sore no more. Before you know it, you at work just moving around. You've been there years now. You just moving around. You're used to everything that once was making you feel pressure, making you feel like you didn't want to be there. Now you see new people come along and you saying, look, it'll pass. Just stay consistent. Keep coming. Your body will adjust, right? We've done this. We've went to a gym and your first couple of workouts made you feel extreme soreness, and you can begin to easily think that this is how it's going to be moving forward. There will be soreness, but it's not going to be to that degree. This is likely the most sore you will ever feel pending you injure something, okay? And so don't let that discourage you. Push through it. Push through what you're calling that, right? What you're calling the pain and the pressure, because you know that as your muscles get adjusted to performing and growing, you're not going to be as sore as you are today, ever again, likely. You see, and so each day from this day moving forward, you're only going to get better if you remain consistent. But if you stop, then there comes regression with that, right? And we know that when you stop going to the gym, when you finally go back, you feel weaker. You don't have as much stamina. So regression happens when you stop. And I feel like that's unfair. I feel like if you work out hard every single day for a solid year and you take a week off, you should at least be able to maintain that muscle. But I think the universe wants to show you that if you ever were to quit, this is what happens. Okay, so there's always going to be consequences to you, either to your consistency or your quitting. If you quit, you lose. But if you're consistent, you gain. So the goal is to remain consistent. Don't live in the drama of success or failure. Just see the consistency as the success. That's it. If you wake up today and you do it again, call that success. If you wake up tomorrow and you do it again, call that success. And if you keep doing that, family, you are successful. Do you understand? You're continuing to be success. You're continuing to repeat success over and over again. And what happens if you repeat success over and over again? What happens, family? That's what you call progression. That's what you call getting better. That's what you call perfection, perfecting rather. That's why the doctor calls his job his practice, because practice makes better. Don't call yourself a professional. Don't call yourself an expert. Call yourself a practitioner. Okay, I'm learning the body. I'm learning me. I'm getting better by studying medicine. I don't claim to know it all, and because of that, I have a wealth of information, because I can now tap into the unknown without feeling insecure or egotistical about it, because I know I don't know everything. I'm okay with not knowing everything. In fact, I think it's beautiful. I think the journey into the unknown is one of the most beautiful experiences that you could ever take. Absolutely, it's uncomfortable because you're stepping in from the known into the unknown. When you're in the known, you feel secure. When you're in a room full of lights, you feel very secure. You can seemingly see where everything is. You know where to step. You're not going to stub your toe. You know where things is. But when you're in the dark, you have to walk slower. You got to move slower. Sometimes you got to use your whole body to navigate. You got to put your hands out in front of your eyes because you can't see. And you got to try to make sure that if there's something in front of you, you can kind of get a clue somehow so you can respond. Okay, sometimes that's the greatest place to be, is in the dark, figuring it out. You understand? Learning from yourself, learning the surroundings on your own instead of what other people have told you. You understand? Be okay with that, even though it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, but be okay with that. Learn to handle the pressure, family. Do you understand? For me, when I grew up, playing basketball and things like that was really fun, but where it became not fun for me was on game day, when everybody's watching. It wasn't fun no more. I couldn't focus because I'm surrounded by all these people, and now I'm worried about how my shot looks when I shoot. I'm worried about what people will think if I miss the shot. Like, they're going to think I suck if I miss the shot. But when I'm out here playing with just the homeboys and playing with my friends at practice playing, I think none of that. I'm here balling out. I don't have any thought in my mind for what anybody may think, only performing, okay? But whenever I am on the court and I can look up and see all those people in the crowd, I start to feel like I'm being watched, and that how they see me today is how they will see me, period. That fear alone bled into my ability to perform. So I never played games as good as I practiced, because it's not just basketball. Mind, body, and soul was not in unison. I was there in body, but not in mind. You understand? And so because I wasn't there in mind, I wasn't there in soul. When you're there in soul, that's when you're in the zone. That's when mind and body is working together in one, and everything slow down, right? And you start to be able to hit shots. You call it getting hot, right? Oh, I'm on today. You know what I mean? That's when you are mind, body, and soul. You're there in the moment. You ain't thinking about what bills you owe. You're not thinking about who talking about you. You're not thinking about what nobody got to say. You're only thinking about that basketball. You see the pass in the air coming to you, and that's all that matters. You see that basket, and that's literally all that matters. That's when the universe is honest with you and says, you're honest with the universe about the thing you're doing right now. You are learning to be in the place, in the zone, mind, body, and soul. Tap into the thing that you are doing. And when you do that, there's rewards with that. You understand? There's rewards with that. And so that should be the goal, is whatever we're focused on, can we do it with mind, body, and soul? So you can't manifest your greatest self not trying. You have to put it all on the line, family. That's why I feel like it's better in solitude, because it was harder for me to perform in front of people. When you're in front of people, you're not going to be honest. The things that you're not good at, you're going to stay away from. If I'm practicing, I'll go to my left side, because the goal or the aim is to get better at going to my left side. But if I'm in the game, I won't go to my left side, because it's a weakness that the other team might exploit. And I don't want them to see how I struggle with my left side, because if they see that and see me try to shoot with my left hand and see how badly my left shot is, all they're going to do is cut off my ability to go right and force me to go left. And that's going to really hurt my game. So until I make that better, I'm going to do that stuff in practice. I'm going to do those things when nobody can see me. You remember DJ on Stomp the Yard? He went deep down into a swimming pool and started doing his dance. That man was out there. They was out there spying on him. They was out there looking at him. What they was recording, man. He was out there. Sometimes you got to go in solitude, man. You understand? Maybe the bottom of a swimming pool wasn't the best place, because they still found him and stole his moves. But you know what I'm saying? But it was one move they left. They left too early. They should have watched him. When he slid back on his elbow, do you remember that move? It wasn't even no dope dance move. I don't know what it was, but it appeared to win a dancing competition. They just pushed him. He fell back, went on top of his head with his elbow. Looked like he was gonna bump into the dude, and he just got back up and ran off like he did a dance move. I didn't like your crew just threw you. I mean, I don't know what that was, but they should have stuck around and recorded that part too. Their failure to record that elbow slide, that's what Jeremy said, elbow slide. That failure to record that is what made them lose. You understand? So if you're gonna study your enemy, be consistent. That's funny, man. Y'all remember DJ went to that swimming pool and started dancing. That's funny, man. Ah, man, yo, that was like, we don't trust ourselves to come up with our own dance moves. We're gonna watch DJ. Yeah, we don't know where that motherfucker came from. DJ came up in that school and he just had some dance moves that nobody saw before, didn't he? He just came in and ruined Grant's whole life, didn't he? Took his girl out, danced him in the club. Went around the room doing everybody else's dances better than them. You know what I'm saying? Just and ate his head like. With a dance move, took his girl. You know why? DJ had been faithful to who he was supposed to be. Now I'm just playing y'all. On that note, fam, that's more than, ending on a laugh. You know what I mean? Listen, family. Be accountable to your greatness. Be willing to go inside of yourself. Even if you have no idea who you are, it doesn't matter at this point. You have a wealth of information, a wealth of abilities inside of you, passed down to you through generation of pressure, struggles. Your ancestors gave you gifts. In order for you to know what they are, you got to tap in. There's nobody out here that can look you in your face and tell you what your gifts are. You ever see like palm readers, okay, face readers, okay, people who can break down your past and lifetimes and things like that? Wouldn't it be nice if you can go sit in front of somebody and they just tell you your glory? They just tell you that you have the ability to do this, you have the ability to do that, you have a great talent for this, and you have a great skill to be able to do that. You have been gifted in this way and that way. It ain't though. The only way you can get to it, family, is to uncover it through effort, consistency, and what you're calling failure. You have to be okay with that. Okay? The best way to reveal yourself is through you sharpening yourself. Okay? The fluid from the caterpillar comes outside of it to make its cocoon. The web for the spider comes outside of the spider, and that makes its shelter, that makes its way of life, that makes its resources. The web alone. When that spider makes that web, and he's consistent to building that web, family, okay? When he completes that web, it will become its shelter and its resource for food. Do you understand? To us, it may be a work of art. To us, it may be a nuisance if we walk through it, okay? That's irrelevant to the spider. The spider is going to build and hunt how it hunts. It's not going to look at even other spiders. It's not going to look at the tarantula and be like, well, they don't make a web. They just hunt their food. Let me do that. No, you better do what works for you. So you keep making your web. Let the lion chase down its prey. You make your web faithfully like you're supposed to, spider. And don't you get discouraged with the rain. Yes, the rain will come and wash your web away. Yes, the weather will come and destroy what you're doing. It will happen. But if you don't build your web, you don't eat. If you don't build your web, you don't have a shelter. So you got to build your web. Yes, the rain is coming. Yes, the wind is coming. The hail is coming. The sleet, the snow is coming. The elements are coming. Yeah, a bird going to fly through your web. Yeah, an animal going to walk right through your web right after you get finished building it. You just got finished building it. And when that happens, you rebuild it again, right? Look at the ant. It just simply rebuilds, family. So rebuild. Every time rebuild. Okay? Don't look for who knocked your house down. Just simply rebuild. Okay? It's okay. Okay? Keep rebuilding, because you know that if you don't have that home, you don't have that protection. So keep on building, no matter what. Stay consistent. Stay consistent, because you will find that at the end of all that rebuilding, you got better when you rebuilt it. You ever lost something? You ever typed up a whole essay and it got deleted, or you didn't save it, and you be like, man, it was so good, and you don't even want to write it no more. You're so discouraged. But what happens? You know, if you don't write it, you're gonna fail. So you gotta rebuild. And what happens when you rebuild it, family? Who's ever rewritten the essay and it was worse than the first one? I guarantee you it wasn't. I guarantee you it was sharper than the first one. And when you got the second one, yeah, you still make me thinking about that first one a little bit, and the damage that it did to your psyche for losing it, right? Then it was very discouraging to lose it. But you wrote a better essay. You understand? It was better the next time around. You know, you lost it all, and it was better the next time around. How many of you ever lost your home, lost your job, lost your car? That day it felt like it was over. But how many of you know you built it back? You built a better you, because now you've been put out before. So now when you go into your next home, you manage your money better. You make sure that rent or that mortgage is the first thing paid. You love your home more. Maybe you decorate it more than the last one. Okay, you actually are there for this one. Okay, you love that next car a little bit more. You make sure you keep those payments up. You see what I'm saying? Because you know what can happen. You know, that to have something to say, I done paid this down payment and got this car, I wasn't responsible with it. Now they done took the whole car. Hey, you learn your lesson. Okay, and you stop going out every Friday night. You said, let me take care of my necessities first. It will change you and make you better, right? So all those times that it rained was good for the ant. All those times that someone stepped on the anthill, it was actually good for the ant, because it helped him to build a better home every single time. You see what I'm saying? All those times that you call yourself failing was good for you if you get back up and keep building again, because it makes you better every single time. Do you understand? That punch is going to get more precise every time you throw it. Throw the same punch and it won't be the same punch. That punch is going to be way different, family. Do you understand? So keep punching, keep stepping, keep doing. And if you keep doing that, you'll keep perfecting the punches, perfecting the steps, and perfecting the doing. Okay? Please, family, I know these builds are powerful, but please make them applicable to your life by doing. Find something to be consistent about. I know there's something inside of you. I don't believe there's anybody on this planet that does not have a gift inside of them to bring forth. I don't believe that any of us do. I don't think any of us are empty of that. Maybe we don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, it's there, family. I believe that that's the one thing that's fair, that's a level playing field for all of us, okay? Is that if we manifest our truest self, it will be revealed, okay? And it will heal others, it'll captivate others, it'll motivate others to be great. And regardless of all the other caterpillars. All that's great for all the other caterpillars, okay? If they see you with your beautiful wings, they might build their cocoon. All that's great. But what's truthfully important is that you're unlocking the greatness that's within you, okay? So don't take mine so much for other people. Focus inwardly, family, and bring that out. Manifest that out of you. You are beautiful. You got, and I ain't talking about biologically. I'm not talking about what you see in the mirror. I'm saying you have no idea what is inside of you, okay? And you will not have an idea until you are willing to go inside of you and pull that out of you, family. So I look forward to seeing you guys do that, okay? If you have not subscribed yet to Facebook, to the Journey to Kingship, make sure you guys do that soon. It will be absolutely exclusive. Facebook hasn't made it exclusive yet, so I wanted to be able to kind of give YouTube a taste of it and keep on presenting it to you guys on Facebook. Thank you guys so much. I've gotten so many more subscribers off Facebook to join Rising to Royalty, Journey to Kingship, and where you guys are going to be meeting a whole lot of other people who think like you. Again, if you're in Charlotte, hit me up. We will be doing some events here this year, and we're going to be having a good time, some outdoor events where we're going to be mingling with the people and getting more familiar with you guys, okay? We love you. We want to grow with you. We want to know who you are, okay? It's time for us to form our tribe, okay, of people who think like us, so we can show the world what king thinking or queen thinking, kingdom thinking is really like, okay? Manifest your best selves, family. Have fun today manifesting the greatest version of yourself, and I'll see you guys tomorrow rise at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, okay? Be evolution. Be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting the other. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, it is in that chaos that you found yourself. Peace, family.